It was the clicker. Where's the clicker? Where's the that kind
of way? That's still common in our household.
So you grew up with your mom. What other authors did she like?
Well, she I guess was taught in junior high that man would never walk on the moon. Really? And they use the word never.
Really?
And when we walked on the moon, I remember we had a moon party, and the whole family came in and watched that Zenith TV. We did have Zenith at that point. I think it was color also. Mm-hmm. First color TV. And it was a big affair. I mean, everyone was glued to it. And so this part of space and science fiction, I guess, always been acclimated to, enjoyed. And she also loved Eric Van Donigan with his book that came out
in the 1970s.
Yeah. I could not put that book down out of the way once I opened it. And it's just been, part of my life. Let's put it that way. She always wanted to see a UFO or a craft, and she never got to, but she had a very, very open mind. And we had some really marvelous discussions as I was growing up. And both my parents and I've had some good discussions. We all know that there is life elsewhere out there. So.
I'm kind of surprised she didn't see anything, because Logan, West Virginia, the sky was really dark.
Well, there have been fighting there that I've noticed since I moved away, but no, we did not see any crafts growing up.
I remember I was visiting my grandparents on my mother's side, and they were in a little place called Mount Airy, Maryland, and they were on a ridge, so you could literally look toward the south, and eventually your sight line would encounter over the horizon Baltimore. And I remember seeing one night, because I was out with a telescope taped to a curtain stretcher for a tripod, which, you had to be careful in the dark, because the curtain stretchers had all these little hooks on them. That's why they were called curtains. They literally used to stretch curtains. My grandmother would, wash the curtains, starch them, and then they would stretch them over this wooden gadget with all these little hooks to make them flat, and then they would dry that way, and then you would hang them up, and you'd have nice rolls and pleats and whatever. Anyway, so I'm out there in the dark with a telescope, and I see this weird reddish light over the distant horizon from the elevation of Mount Airy, Maryland. And I focused the telescope on it, and it was 4 lights side by side, tilted at an angle, red lights with spacing in between. And of course,
this sounds interesting.
Well, it didn't do anything except it just kind of faded away, like with distance, got smaller. But it, looking back now, I was like, 12, 13, something like that. To me, it was weird. It was not usual. It was an aircraft. And even looking back now, I think I can account for the reddish color, because it was so far away that the atmosphere was scattering away the blue light. And like the reason we have red sunsets. So only the red light was left. But I don't remember any aircraft in that era that had 4 equally spaced, equally bright red lights, either as running lights or landing lights or whatever, because landing lights, when a plane is landing and is turned toward you, they're so close together that they're basically one bright light that scintillates. This was different. And it's one of those things that, to me, it was a UFO, probably an airplane that I wasn't familiar with, but to me, it's still unidentified.
The technical, I guess, definition for UFO.
Mm-hmm.
But let me interject real fast that I had the pleasure of working with a professor at Liberty University, which your audience may know to be a rather conservative Christian university in Lynchburg, Virginia.
Yeah.
And we were working together side by side one morning, which I was a mailman, and he made the comment, which I'll never forget. That is that we don't call them UFOs anymore. That's too threatening. We call them grass.
Crap.
Grass. So that's pretty much what I intermingle
To religion.
Well, it started around 1980, probably closer to the late 80s. Just started really getting interested with what the Bible has to say, primarily prophecy-oriented. Study also most of it in the Bible, some of it not in the Bible. And I do believe a lot of it, if not most of it, is true. And since then, I've been, had a background with conservative Methodist and conservative Southern Baptist. So I've sung in the choir, done church work, taught Sunday school, some sermons when my pastor wasn't there, that kind of thing. Studied it quite a bit. I guess you would say I'm self-taught.
So you were not raised in a religiously disposed family, but you came to this later in life.
Well, I mean, we went to church occasionally, but it wasn't, topics that we discussed. We'd probably discussed UFOs more than we discussed this life. So, it was, I would say, later in life, probably through '88 up until 2 years ago. I guess I would say it would be a lot of study. Since then, I've pretty much become ecumenical. It's hard to find a specific church to go to now. Your beliefs have been altered like mine.
Well, maybe you found one.
Well,
I mean, when this comes out,
oh yeah.
so when that really comes out, you know there's going to be a religious revival the likes of which we've never seen in our lifetime.
Dr. Barry Downing, who I have interviewed, by the way, uses the word meta-reformation. And that's exactly what the religious community, priests and preachers and whatnot, as well as the divinity schools, I mean, it's really going to be up to them to calm down society when this comes out, the big D, that is.
I'm not so sure about the calming down part, because I have a feeling that those communities that are really conservative have that. My guess this morning, is too many W's. It's Wallace Wagner. We shall return, because tonight we're looking at religiosity